someone would have commented on it then.
Well, make sure to definitively unmute us this time. But I possibly know now what that does. I just have to remember next time. But the song is played entirely through once and is a sixth of the way through again, so it's been another minute. So I vote we could start working if the background coloring book shows up. There we go, it's showing up now. It probably showed up for other people earlier, but whatever. I don't know if you're watching the thing, Koki, but well, I guess we'll begin by the introductions because I always do that, and then I can begin with my question that's unrelated. We are down to 2 pictures left. What should we do afterwards?
That's a good question. I don't know, I still just want to have something on screen. And if there's something that doesn't require a lot of, concentration or player input,
Mm-hmm.
I don't plan on passing, but any game you want is fine.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. So at some point during the middle of this episode, we're going to just have a black screen for a bit. Like, I am silent. I am a political philosopher, amongst a couple other things. And we are discussing, I don't know why I opened that is the wrong document. We are discussing the episode Love Gods from Sliders. Apologies for the last video. I fucked up and I think that there was no audio. So, well, there was audio, but only of the music that was playing. So, well, the more we fuck up, the better. The more I know how stuff works, because we're doing this as just a 2-person team of amateurs. How do I get rid there? I'm back to what I was trying to do in the first place. God damn it! I can't close this, and I keep screwing up because I'm trying to go to. I have a Word document open, and then I have a document in Google Docs open, and I keep forgetting that I don't click the document icon to get to the document I want. I click on the water fox icon. Okay.
So, I have a question.
Yes.
You didn't, when we were watching it, pretty confident that this is the intended order. What happened to the woman they slid with? At the end of the city?
I don't know.
Is this a continuity error? Does she never come up again?
I don't believe she ever comes up again, and it could very well be a continuity error, because I have no idea.
Alright. I mean, the other guys disappeared right away too, but at least they acknowledged it.
Yep. That's true. Yeah, I'm not sure. But the episode begins with that they land, and then the professor's like, why do we always have to land on something hard, or something akin to that? Followed by Cue Ball being like, don't complain, Professor, next time it could be spikes. This is a thing that never actually comes up. They never explored sliding itself, really. They explore the various worlds, but they don't explore the nature of possible differences and the nature of sliding nearly as much as they could or as they would be able to, such as how are they prevented from falling on spikes and how are they prevented from falling into the ocean or into the vacuum of space. They pay a little bit of lip service to it now and again, to enough for me to have drawn my own conclusions, but I don't think they ever actually get into it other than background stuff, which I find a little unfortunate.
Always arrive at the location that they took off. In fact, it's oftentimes rather different.
Yeah, they do explicitly mention that in one episode and explain that they have like a I don't know the exact number, 60-mile range or something, where they can slide in. It's just anywhere within the boundary of San Francisco. Until at one point they lose their. They have to get somebody else's sliding device, and it changes where they can slide in, so they can slide anywhere between San Francisco and Los Angeles, because they temporarily go to San Angeles.
So, I want to comment on some things, but I'm just not got everything written down that you want to say.
Yeah, I basically do the what's it called? Basically retell the entire story of what we just watched. Also, at some point, I'm not sure when, the neighbors will probably come over for help putting in lights and whatnot, and I'll have to go then. But yep. So they land, and there's a lot of women, and they're like, oh, everybody's out shopping. Koki had commentary on this.
Oh yeah, I guess I was wondering if this is a suggestion by the writers that a world that's covered entirely by women would be a more shopping center world, or if this is a commentary on, the characters assuming because the streets are full of women they must be shopping. Neither would surprise me, even though they're two very different messages.
Yeah. So a girl walks out of the center and is in shock and is just like looking at people like, oh my god. Arturo's looking at his toys and he's like, there's no stereotypical male toys. They still don't fully know what's up yet, but that's coming shortly. They actually learned this one fairly.
I think there was an attempt at racial commentary, that this white girl is looking at the Rembrandt and just smiling, and, she's just frozen in fear, and is like, then she runs up like, ah! That seemed tense, and it might have, they might not have thought too much about the fact that Rembrandt is black, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they might have wanted to leave that ambiguous as to why the girl was afraid.
Possibly. I think she does look at the others as well, but yeah. I could also, try to, I don't know, explain it away, but that's also just me trying to defend a series I like, and it's it could very well be a racial commentary that I'm just unfortunately too ignorant about to have a good thought.
I mean, this is just something that I was wondering about, and you didn't see it. Like maybe well, anyways, we can go on.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, obviously the nature of the world isn't revealed yet, but remember in those comments at Toy Story that Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat is president, but he's sitting at a tea party. So male toys have been repurposed.
Mm.
Honestly, I think that plenty of girls do like action toys. Maybe they'd be a little less prominent because of certain cultural norms. But also the fact that toy stores are kind of already up and running, children's toy stores and stuff, is kind of weird. So I'm not gonna think about it too hard to begin with.
Yeah, well, I mean, female children, because of the nature of the world that we haven't gotten into yet, would have been immune from everything that's gone on.
Yeah, I just mean to say, like, well, there's so many aspects of society that are just kind of running like normal, and, half the population is basically family staffed. But obviously, I'll comment on this a bit more later.
So a large group of women is standing around looking at the sliders, lightly squealing, and then suddenly the mob attacks, and the police intervene to stop the mob attack. Also, arrest the men. Related to the previous episode, we did a video on called "The Weaker Sex." There are women wanted posters in this police area, which Koki pointed out would counter the claim, or directly counter the claim from that episode, wherein they said that no, or because women ruled this other world and subjugated all men, there was no violence and no wars. But in this one, there's clearly violence because there's a bunch of most wanted women, and prisons still seem like they're working, suggesting that women can be just as violent as men. I would say this would prove my prior thought that the previous world is just merely propaganda is what was being spouted, and it's not like there actually is no what's it called, crime.
Yeah, or these are different writers just kind of jabbing at one another where.
Yeah, I'm trying to force it into a single coherent narrative for obvious reasons.
They don't have the same writers and writers could take Johnny, or these are just different universes, and one women are violent when they're in charge, and other women are not violent when they're in charge. I think women are just as capable of violence as us, so.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I'm probably biased. I mean, yeah, sure, it's just propaganda. I couldn't tell you, like, what the intended message is.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that in this world, they clearly seem to address a woman can be violent as opposed to the intersex world where they suggest that women wouldn't be violent.
Yeah. So they're at the police. Oh wait, I guess the interesting thing as well. The previous one, the weaker sex, there was women and men, and in that world, there was the claim is where they did the claim that there's no violence, no wars, but in this world, where they actually get rid of and have imprisoned all men, for the most part, there still is violence. So this is actually a world run by women, even more so. But continuing, so they're in the police station. This world has no men, they think, to begin with. They later realize that it's just a limited number of men and not none.
Everyone in the tour are really happy about this too.
And Cue Ball is weird. He's always somewhere in between them. In this one, he's very, for the most part, he's kind of like, I'd rather not engage in any of this. But when he's in the prison, being interrogated, they're Rembrandt and Arturo. They're the ready, willing, and able, and Cue Ball's the one, I believe, who says the and willing.
Yeah. I also want to know what their story was. It pretty wasn't a very good story.
I mean, I assume their story was the truth that they keep failing to convince literally anybody of, except Sid, I guess.
I think Drive Trucks for this story makes me think that they came up with a story that, had holes in it, not necessarily a story that was completely outlandish. Now, granted, the Sliders plot does have holes, but a lot of things don't make sense. But, it didn't seem like, because it doesn't come up again that, it's like, she doesn't call them like delusional ramblers or anything like that. She doesn't suggest that the stories are not physically possible, just that it doesn't add up.
True.
But I don't know. Do you think that they have sort of like an A story and B story here, and it's sort of like, how do we decide to survive the virus? And they're just sort of like blanking on this. And Rembrandt's like, we took our vitamins. These guys get it together is basically what I'm getting from this story.
Yeah. So Cue Ball says, Arturo's like, we made a slide to heaven, and Cue Ball says, don't say anything till I figure out what's going on, because he's consistently the voice of reason. Seems to be, well, I say that. Never mind.
The voice of skepticism and cynicism, but because he's the author's favorite, he happens to be right.
Yeah, I just realized that my statement was incorrect, but yes, he's regardless. So they're in the interrogation room, and then the three of them say, "Don't worry where we're from. We're here now, ready, willing, and able." Cue Ball does the willing. Leaf Cheese does assault Cue Ball. I want to say a normal assault, but is like but isn't willing to say they're charging them with any type of crime. Bureau comes in. We don't yet know the Bureau of what. They're just called the Bureau. They're like, we have jurisdiction here, so stop assaulting them and go away. They're the Bureau of Repopulation. As they go to the compound, there's some bloke watching from the car outside as the sliders are being arrested and taken to basically the breeding center. They're called repopulation centers, and they have applications for women to fill out to be able to partake, I guess. It's believed that the sliders were from, it's believed in this world that the sliders were from an enemy breeding camp in Canada, which proposes, one, that in this instance Canada isn't just a direct opposite of the US, but it's also engaging in same type of activities the Americans are, but also that they're enemies at this moment and not merely nearby allies or anything like that. They're clearly stated as some type of oppositional force.
And we're not given any indicator that they are actively at war with Canada. Canada is just called an enemy breeding camp, which is kind of weird, but I think that there's just a presupposition that other countries that are, breeding are seen as hostile considering the limited, I guess, human resources.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, it's a zero-sum game, right? Every man that one country has is another man that another country does not.
Yes. So I think we're getting towards it. I have a question about, that as well, but not at this exact moment. So they're called Patriots. They're obviously it's not an intentional connection because it was made well beforehand, but it seems related to. But we drew a connection, and by we I guess I mean Koki again, to the heroes work here rhetoric during the COVID pandemic. And it's like, yeah, we're going to heavily mistreat you, but we're going to call you something nice, and that way the people who are mistreating you and putting you in danger can feel good about it.
Yeah, the idea that they're kind of just breeding stock that is kind of horrific, and the fact that they're called patriots, and granted, they say more explicitly later, but this is what I want to use, is, I think, a nice world building touch, and yes, it perhaps was surprisingly pathetic.
Unfortunately. But so I don't think there's really too much commentary on there. But they're at the compound, and they're like, cue ball's in excellent health, and he's going to. He's clearly been arrested. I don't know how he's this stupid, but they're like, he is. They'll have him be. I don't remember their exact rating, but do it 5 times a day for the first week, and he's like, sorry, we're leaving on Wednesday, and their response is basically, no, you aren't. It's like, are we prisoners? It's like, no, you're patriots. It's like, they're definitely prisoners.
Well, he also could have said, and I meet with a friend on this day. It won't be 10 minutes. Now granted, they might not be able to, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They could have at least asked. But also, there is gender commentary where, during the exam, things like, it's not too bad if you don't mind being rated like a piece of meat. And I do think that a lot of this is sort of like commenting on sort of the gender reversal, where they are affected by misogyny, basically. Where in this women's world, they are like sexualized in the most literal sense of the word. Their entire value is based on their ability to have sex and impregnate women.
Yeah. So they reveal that there's a breeder of the month, Trevor Grant. I only note it because he's important for plot reasons. He has 215 confirmed pregnancies for February alone. It's called an alpha male. There's obviously commentary here. It's been done to death. Short version is alpha males starts with a misunderstanding about the study of wolves, and the person who popularized the concept has tried to take it back and say that it was wrong. Alpha males don't exist, and anyone who says otherwise is lying to you. There are abusive males, but no alpha males in terms of a predetermined social hierarchy in the wild. I mean, I guess maybe there are, like in lions, but those are usually by virtue of the fact that they will just do murder, which only the most insane would think is okay. And
Yeah, I was looking like grade apes have like very patriarchal hierarchies. At least I know this is the case with chimpanzee gorillas. But obviously the term alpha male is based on false commentary. Or not false, incorrect. Study regarding wolves, and yeah, it's kind of infiltrated discourse ever since.
yeah, and the person who developed the idea has even rejected it, which I feel is the biggest proof of its non-validity.
And if only everyone rejected the end of history, but we know history stops.
Oh. So Arturo once again goes into his normal eugenicist mindset that if he's allowed to breed at that rate, civilization will be set back more than 10,000 years. He's not as eugenicist as one would think, given his constant eugenicist statements in other episodes.
I misremembered this episode. I felt like when he was talking about, and this is the later bit, when he was gonna complain about people not listening to him, it was more about sexism, whereas I thought he was just gonna go on a full pro-eugenicist tirade. I don't know why I didn't. I mean, I guess I replaced what he actually did say with something I thought he would say in my mind. But yeah, he's bad, but he's not nearly as bad as I remember him in this episode.
Yeah. I think it's really the most egregious thing he does in the episode as well.
Yeah, just that one remark.
Yeah.
As far as I can recall.
Yeah. Same. The rest of the time it's just him being just kind of cringe. So, but that's, whatever. So some of the world building, there was a quick lore dump. There was a war in the Middle East an unknown number of years ago. Iraqis released a viral agent that attacked a Y chromosome. Some people have had natural immunity just due to the fact that there's a lot of freaking people in the world. Some people will be able to survive regardless of what occurs. Um,
So, for our time frame, though it's not explicitly stated, I'm assuming that this is supposed to line up with the original war. Because Iraq is singled out, and the year is 1996, so let's say that the virus killed all men about 5 years ago.
okay. There was a lot of back and forth off screen of when this would have taken place. Like, we didn't get into fisticuffs yet, but,
Because I was really the impression that it was a lot older than that, and to be honest, I'm still inclined to say that this is something much more recent, like maybe 2 years, but I think if we're using historical events reference as our main point of reference, I'm inclined to say it was 5 years ago.
mm-hmm. And Koki has mostly convinced me, not 100%, but enough. Ow. Oops. Doing that. There we go. So there's a weird possible relation to another one. I, for example, to my knowledge, have yet to have had COVID. Everyone around me has had COVID multiple times. Every time I take a test, both self-administered and in medical settings, has always come back negative. I'm not saying I'm immune to COVID. I'm just because I don't know, but it's. I find it interesting. So back to the actual world building. The industrial nations are in a race to repopulate. There's no men in Iraq. They're saying it's ladies all the way to Australia. Arturo despises Australia and says it's unsuitable to survive in, even for English prisoners. Minor correction. Australia is so bad it's barely usable as an English prison. This does lead to a question that I did not think of until I started recording. This seems improbable to impossible. Between China and India, that's like half of the world's population, roughly, or something like that.
I think Australia is the only old world place that has men. I guess the Afro-Eurasian continent.
Yeah, no. Don't know what I'm getting to is this combined with there's natural immunity. Some of these people should be immune.
Yeah, I do wonder how much of it is natural immunity and how much of it is just distance from Iraq.
Oh, so like natural immunity plus concentration.
Yeah, I guess maybe I should approach the measurables because I was just thinking like Australia is the only old world location that men are mentioned as existing at all. You know, there are men in U.S., Canada, Mexico, presumably in South America as well. Maybe they're like Pacific Islanders, but I wouldn't be surprised if in Europe, Africa, Asia, it's just all women. Like, there's sort of a kill zone, and then, you know, when you go further out, you get a bit less of a kill zone. And it seems the southern hemisphere, or at least the further south you go, the less affected you are, considering that nations, but also Mexico doesn't seem terribly stressed. They don't have these kinds of. I mean, I'd like to believe that they threw their heads one out there and they just decided, hey, let's do things normally. But realistically, I'm guessing that in Latin America, people just weren't in it as hard, so things don't care as much. But that's speculation on my part.
Mm-hmm. So they go to a steam room. This is, what do we decide on? This is the next day? This is likely the next day?
Yeah, I feel like it's implied to be the next day. This is a relevant question because it's unclear how much off-screen sex is implied. But if this is the next day, then they don't escape until nighttime, which means that each of them were given, were made to copulate 5 times. And if this isn't the next day, if this is just the afternoon immediately after, then they managed to escape before they forced to copulate. It's really unclear.
Yeah. I think I was in agreement that it was probably the next day. So anyway,
There's lots of implied off-screen sex in this episode.
yeah.
It's fitting for an episode called Love Gods.
So they go in the steam room. A guy approaches them and is plotting to escape. There's many countries that would like them not to breed, for a variety of ways. This guy's wife and sister are going to help break him out. They begin the escape at night. Wife and sister are going to take care of the wall. One tries to rush the gate to distract the guards. They get in. The guards are like, "Hey, somebody's breaking in," and they all rush towards to stop the person. The men are hiding from patrol guards and jump the wall. Rembrandt is caught in the spotlight, which, while it's a thing he always wants, just maybe not at this moment. The group and their driver make a getaway. They go to her house. I'm presuming this is the wife, who was the driver.
You don't think he was making out with his sister?
I forgot about that part.
Believe me, this is just a straight up incest. But also, a girl was playing surprisingly cool. There's something he was bad at when approaching the opportunity to escape.
Yep. All right. He didn't just start yelling, "Why do we need to turn our backs to the cameras?" or something. While turning to look directly at it. Yes, he did not do that.
Though they did immediately turn and look at the camera. That was all of them, not just the
Duke. So
as a camera watching them in the steam room. Needless to say, the clinic that forces them to have sex constantly doesn't afford them very much privacy.
yeah, it's not like they'd need it anyway. Let's see. How do I do this? I'm trying to get rid of the coloring page section, because I just finished that and have no more coloring pages. So, black screen time! Hooray!
Something up there, even if it's just like an image of the sliders logo.
The only thing I have is the please wait to slide. I mean, we're still talking, so.
Let's resume.
Um.
I just decided to grab an image if you wanna just open it as an image and then have that screen. But in any case, yes, they managed to escape to the guy's. I mean, I'm assuming his house as well, where he lived before he was abducted. And there's sort of like a weird allusion to basically monogamous sex is the new homosexuality. Like the guy who calls it the one that dare not speak his name, and his wife was commenting that. Everyone thinks it's selfish of her to want to be in a monogamous relationship, and she can't bear the thought of it being with so many other women.
Yeah. It's. What was I thinking? Oh, and it begins with the wife saying that it's her friends think it's immoral to want to be in a monogamous relationship anymore. Which then went to the love that dare not speak its name.
I don't know if this is necessarily a statement in solidarity with the gay community. I'm going to say, given what happens later on in the episode, it's probably just a reference to it. But I do find it interesting that they were just sort of combating this world, this kind of sweet love that, takes the roots of homosexuality. I mean, presumably homosexuality also happens in this world, and it never comes up. I mean, no, it does come up. It blatantly comes up, but not the way you would think.
The so there is mild, and other people could probably speak to it more, but they're not here presently. There's a how do I want to phrase it? Misrepresentation of what is it? Polygamy in here, in that it's a kind of mildly represented as for the sex, and that is, generally not the case. I mean,
What's happening is blatantly non-monogamous, but I get what you're talking about. Like, you're saying these are the two ways for heterosexual sex to happen, which is not the case.
yeah. I forgot what this is called. Pixel art. Full screen.
But they do manage to get in touch with Wade, for better and for worse.
There we go. Sorry, I got a new thing, so I'm just getting the settings all figured out. Theme dark.
Oh, hey, that's
I don't know.
Actually, yes, this is a very common look, and lots of colors you can't really tell.
Legally distinct magical girl. That way they don't get sued.
I haven't thought about just how generic seeing these look is. But regardless,
Yeah. Oh, so monogamy and degree of polygamy are Yeah, I was trying to think because it's like they're not really into marriages; they're into d- sexual ownership. Uh, which is, I guess, slightly different, but I'm not sure how to phrase what I'm thinking of.
I don't really associate what's happening in this with romantic relationship models or sexual relationship models. I mean, I guess it is a kind of sexual relationship, but this is like, yes, this is, they're just treating them as kind of stud rules to use.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I suppose if you really want like the liberatory, like base take, you could say that heterosexuality and heteronormativity is the reduction of all humans to the idea that we exist to breed, and love in itself is a non, I guess you could say, heteronormative act or a revolutionary act. And for a lot of history, you know, a lot of parents, even monogamous parents, were, and especially monogamous parents actually, were very much forms of control on the general population so that they kept breeding. You know, love and marriage and sex were largely unrelated things for history. Now, I was planning on making this more radical take, but you know, if we want to talk about how, you know, in this world, monogamous romances, love that they're not speaking the same, maybe we should just talk about how love dare not speak the same, and how a lot of historical heteronormativity is terribly oppressive. But I feel like we're losing the plot, right? This is certainly a conversation to have.
I mean, that's kind of the point of everything, right? Just to have the conversations, using sliders as the jumping off point.
Mm, yeah, but obviously, radical sort of non-monogamy can take a lot of different forms. And to be honest, even people who are inclined towards like polyamorous relationships aren't necessarily people who don't feel jealousy. It's a matter of, you know, emotional understanding and management. There's not a
And
lot happening in the episode that I could build off of this, but you know, I guess I do find it interesting that there's this particular undesirable relationship model being imposed on men because in our society, and even in the field, as though they are just being kept as breeding stock, and in this case, you know, it's the men that are objectified.
yeah, um, I'm now realizing what a benefit it would be to try to find I don't know, experts on topics and bring them into the conversation, but that would that would mean either of us have contacts who are free in the middle of the day on Tuesday, which seems unlikely.
Right, right.
Um,
If you're an expert on the topic, and I'm sure some of you are, be sure to leave a comment and we'll get right to you.
we might get to you in a little bit if you leave a comment after this episode airs and we finish recording, though. But I wasn't expecting such a conversation to occur at the moment, so my brain is not working at capacity. And the video. But continuing on, Diana's also said that she was she was rejected from the uh, program. Her application was denied. Her statement is, or her understanding of it is, she's not young enough and pretty enough to make the master race that the country wants, because they're going explicitly into pro eugenics commentary now, which makes Arturo's one prior feel a little less out of place, but still. And the husband, his understanding of it is, you piss off the wrong bureaucrat, they'll just cut you off forever. There's political corruption. And I mean, both of these are able to be true. One's more systemic focused, and the other one's I don't know the phrase. I want to say like a reformist take. You can potentially fix the system by finding out who the corrupt person or people are and just getting rid of them. Like, man,
This woman and
I mean, technically, most of the women in this world would be incels.
I guess I was thinking about, like, you know, we have sort of like the black pill narrative that the system is geared this way, that you literally cannot, and then you got like the pickup artists and the list masters that are like, your odds will be better if you can change this aspect about you or that aspect about you. And I do wonder if, like, the sort of rudeness that she's expressing, you know, it's clearly not based on how men deal with the inability to have sex, but I do find it interesting that it kind of blinds.
Yeah.
That she wants to be her husband, but societal standards, you know, around beauty, and she should be talking to her, denying her. And,
Yeah.
you know, in the case of her husband, this is corrupt power structures that are making it, you know, making it so that she can't. And obviously, when things aren't going your way, you might go through a whole long list of options of why is this so, right?
Yeah. Do frameworks be so they're trying to flee to Mexico because there's no forced breeding therein, which leads to Koki's prior statement about South American, Latin America countries, but we'll also get to that more in the alternate history section. Back to the hotel with Wade. A cop is trying to follow Wade because she was with the Sliders earlier, and they're trying to track them down because they escaped. Obviously, they try to sympathize, get her to sympathize, so that see if she has sympathies for it. Like, no, it's just terrible what they do to the men. They have to have 6 or 7 women a day, and what?
That particular combination of numbers.
Koki is secretly a Zoomer, but doesn't want anyone to know. Don't let it out, it's a secret.
Right.
exactly. Um, so once again, they're back at the house. They're growing a chia plant, but the chia plant is in the shape of a guy, and they're like, you can make your man more or less hairy based on how much you water it, how much hair you want it to have, and it's. I don't know what Koki thought about it. I found it fairly creepy.
I mean, it's pretty euphemistic. They're talking about like, as a lot of these size courses or like, and a lot of this is just sort of hammering home the point that men are objectified as, in this world.
Yeah. Um. In this case, it's obviously a very in the whole world in here, it's a very literal objectification, but this takes that and is like subtlety is for cowards.
They comment on its lowdown. There's one there too. There's they do comment on television that there's like the French princess was there, and basically all of the television program has resumed except everything's women now, and you can kind of see. Actually, I suppose it's worth noting. Rembrandt takes it for granted that the television is bad because of this, even though I don't think he saw a single episode of the French princess of Bel-Air. Maybe it's better than the Will Smith version. But it's clear that media has come to like adapt, and much like Johnny Cage in the Tea Party, sometimes it's just taking the structure of the entertainment that existed before and just sort of like gender swapping it or putting it in a new situation. But in the case of these Chia men, it's also you can see like a type of woman first and accommodating to women's I guess desires in a way only into
Yeah. So I also didn't think of looking it up beforehand. Are you familiar with anything like I don't know what the phrase I'm looking for is, Chia woman?
Is that a thing?
I don't know. That's why I asked if you were familiar or if you knew of its existence, because I didn't look it up, and it's.
Individual like celebrity Chias, Chia protocols. But at the very least, when I look up Chia women, I'm getting like women who are into Chia or how she is supposed to herself. Or so I'm inclined to say no. The generic woman is probably not it. But there's a Bob Ross Chia pet.
Well, yeah, that one is obvious, though. If you didn't have a Bob Ross Chia pet, you should have run yourself out of business.
Well, regardless, I think it's I don't think they have like generic Chia pets.
Mm-hmm. I was just curious if this was a gender inversion to something that would have been notable at the time, but I'm guessing probably not. It's just objectification commentary.
Well, they took a common women's hobby and made it horny.
Mm-hmm.
Because now they can be horny on the main, whereas in our world, women can only lust after their Chia pets in private.
Existence is weird. Fresh Princess of Bel-Air, amongst other things I don't recognize. They could have been independently created things just for the episode, or based off of shows that were known at the time that I was too young to have recognized, and were more niche. reality TV has a. I don't recall what I meant by this. Maybe Koki would. Reality TV has a way of screwing up fantasy.
Oh, True and Rembrandt said that reality has a way of putting up fantasy in regards to Arturo's lament that the world of only women you think is a great world, but in reality it's not a great world at all. Being treated as like an actual sex object is not fun. I don't think it was reality TV that was fantasy. It was reality as a fantasy.
Mm-hmm. That would make a lot more sense, but I assumed I had written it right, but I didn't.
Arturo just kind of lamented, this is where I thought he went on to be judged, but I have vague memories of it. He actually does it, where he's like, there's something on in vitro fertilization.
Yes, I was getting to that.
Okay.
But yeah, I wanted to continue with reality as a way of screwing up fantasy. People have a general there's an odd but frequent conception that individuals have what you think is indicative of the way reality is, which is definitively an untrue statement. And there are many instances wherein people specifically have like fantasies or ideas, things that they think are neat, but they only think are neat because it's a fantasy, and it doesn't exist. If the thing that they fantasized about existed, they would hate it. I'm trying to think of generally appropriate examples, but few ones that I would be allowed to say on YouTube are coming to mind.
Right. Yeah, I suppose this is an aspect of the commentary I didn't think too much about, but being careful what we wish for, I suppose, is kind of a big part of this. Like, a lot of men would like to be the only man and the only woman, but
Well, yeah, I was actually arguing the exact opposite. People don't necessarily have to be careful what they wish for, because sometimes wishes are not meant to represent how an individual would like reality. I guess I will do a one like sexual fantasies do not always represent how a person would like to interact, like the consensual non-consent crowd. It's, I mean, obviously there's complications, but there's like a fantasizing about. I guess the most appropriate phrasing is being sexually assaulted, but they probably I feel confident in saying, even though I've never actually directly asked anybody, oppose sexual assault. Their fantasies are not meant to represent how they would like society to exist. So you don't need to be careful what you wish for, because a wish is intended to be non-existent.
yeah, I suppose, yeah.
going on to a more, I guess, political ended part of the spectrum. I will again, I guess, technically disagree with Koki, but I will also be disagreeing with myself because I'm no anding my own prior statement in that you can still have to be careful what you wish for, but a lot of these things are very contextual. There are differences like as I had noted, like sexual fantasies aren't always this is how society should be run, but in the realm of politics, you have a more need to be careful for your fantasizing about what should happen because like people who advocate for armed insurrection have a tendency to romanticize um, fighting in battle and that it would be a great thing when fighting wars or battles or anything similar is extremely traumatic at best. Um, and it's not a thing you want to do. You might say you want to do it, but it's not actually a thing you want to do. And so, in those instances, yes, you should be careful what you wish for. In is going on a more so that's like a left wing take I'm more familiar with. Going on a right wing take as well for still being careful what you wish for. Christofascism is kind of the belief that religion, especially that is to say, in this case, Christianity, should rule society, and everybody should be subject to the regulations thereof. But people have disagreements over what version of Christianity should be mandatory, and whilst people on the right could agree that 1 second, that Christianity should be mandatory, they would disagree about the exact interpretations of Christianity. And so, like, if the Catholics won out and were allowed to force their Christianity, the Protestants would be pissing. They would absolutely despise this, and they would say, "No, that's not what we want because it's not." Because they got what they want. Christianity has won out and is being forced on everybody. They just want their own version of it, and it becomes increasingly restrictive in what interpretations would be allowed. That, like, it could start with, okay, well, gay people are no longer allowed to get married, and then they would slowly extend to things that are more objectionable, but they're always just like one step away. And
no meat on Fridays can serve anywhere.
yeah, and then it's people just would get increasingly opposed to this, but it is what they wanted. It just has the unintended side effect that is really obvious to anybody outside of the system, that there is no true, in this case, Christianity. So they except for whatever is believed by a single individual, that is the only way it can be a true by virtue of being true for you alone. Um,
So, I am thinking about how the English Civil War, which was very much tied to Catholic Protestant rivalry, but also the 30 Years' War was probably a big part of the cultural background that led to the idea of separation between church and state. The conflicts that emerged when specific sort of things are put in place. Uh, Keep in mind, even early on in the colony's history, there were laws that were like Catholic cannot bear arms or hold office. And so, some people might be like, yeah, we're going to have an image, we're going to have a law banning public delusions of those who marry. Or, the Seventh-day Adventists might bring this like, we will not allow worship on Sundays. Or inversely, literally anyone else would demand. I mean, Seventh-day Adventists, I feel like a big part of their culture is paranoia around, it's called blue light laws.
blue laws.
And blue laws, okay, that'll be G, that'll be Z. But, this kind of leads to a lot of conflict, right? And basically, saying like the message is not necessarily be careful what you wish for, but necessarily saying you should not be careful what you wish for. Though, obviously, there's also a matter of navigating your fantasies.
Yeah, it's you should not force your fantasies onto others.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is kind of a meme where, like, where the teacher would announce that she's pregnant and, like, the LGBT parents is like, how dare you impose your career on my children? It's not that these things can be ever be wholly separate, but it is something that we have to navigate. We all have to navigate.
Yeah, and then with back to the political one, because I'm convinced that most sexual fantasies people have are like not intended to be a declaration of this is how society should exist. It's entirely an individualistic take. So on the political one, be careful what you wish for. Would have you have to take into account unintended consequences, things that you don't know about or can think of at the moment. So this would be why I don't know, discussions with other people are necessary to account for it, such as like if divorce is now illegal, then the only way that in the past, one way for when divorce was illegal, one of the few ways that women would be able to get out of aggressively abusive situations would be murdering their husbands. So when laws legalizing, damn it, I forgot what it's called, divorce passed, the rate of men dying plummeted, because women were no longer having to murder their abusers and get out of bad situations. They could just get out of bad situations. So, like in this case, I don't know where I was going with that, but oh well. continuing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can continue with the episode if you don't have any other comments.
Yeah. Let's resume.
Okie doke. There's no IVF, no donor eggs. The only way they can reproduce is the old-fashioned way. Arturo once again thinks that he could solve the entire crisis on his own if they just ask. I mean, he's very open with his hatred for anybody who's scientifically illiterate. It would entirely be possible for him to just tell people about it, especially during the times that he's not, I don't know, being force bred.
He says that in Brad, there's a lot of stuff happening on screen, but it's like they cared more about my brain cells than my sperm cells. That I could fix this problem within a generation, which kind of tells me, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, that he did try to speak to people, but they were not interested in his opinions. We don't see like how what he was saying through the physical examination part of this for Gabriel and so forth. But I think this is further emphasizing the point of objectification, which is a theme of this episode.
Yeah.
He's like, why don't women value me for my mind? Why do they even care about my body? This is a common anxiety that occurred in a lot of media in the 90s regarding women feeling objectified by men. So it kind of makes sense that this is a setting where you can complain about it happening as a man from women in this kind of like I feel like they're trying to revisit a lot of the themes of the weaker sex world.
Yeah. So if so cue ball gets separated at no wait, if cue ball tries to leave the house to go find Wade, and he's like, we need to find her, and we can't just sit around here and wait. And the others are like, no, literally all we can do is sit around and wait. Otherwise, we're putting yourself and the group in more risk, because you wouldn't be able to find her, and you'd be immediately dogpiled on either by the police or the women who are outside. And just the vague outside, not like standing outside the door. This is an interesting way for him to address cue balls. I've got to get involved and do the stuff right now. Only I'm capable of saving everybody attitude in a way that's not overly direct and accusatory. Which is a thing that he was complaining about on the prior world.
Oh, yeah, and they just sort of tell him, well, in this case, they're telling him before he makes a bad decision instead of, I told you so afterwards.
Yeah, he's, in the previous world, he's like, we need to, Arturo was talking with Rembrandt, and he said, we need to have a talk with, the Quinn and Miss Wells, because they keep getting involved in the affairs of other worlds, and they need to stop trying to be the saviors. And in this case, it's okay, we can actually have this kind of talk that he shouldn't just rush into trying to save everybody, but in a way that's not reactionary, haha, you failed, but also in a way that allows him to understand why it is, instead of just these people are naysayers and want the status quo. Which, I mean, Arturo kind of is, but... what?
terrible world and I wouldn't defend it. But I suppose this is something that the show kind of presumes that our world and our values are the way to go. And, you know, if we find worlds that are different from our values, then that's a problem.
Yeah, on the other hand, they also, like, these other worlds could have value of their own that we are missing. Granted, they're not the ones that the show focuses on because, oh boy, this place is good and there's no issues here is not really fun TV.
I mean, we kind of see this in the Malthusian world where Arturo does, like, talk about, hey, I can't argue with results. This is a much happier society than ours. This is a much safer society. And it's always dismissed as basically, no, you're wrong. And granted, I'm not saying I like the Malthusian society, but I am saying, like, you know, they don't, like, really spend much time entertaining the possibility of, hey, maybe we aren't doing things the right way, you know?
Yeah. In many cases, we are doing things the not right way. I just feel like this allows them to have the conversation, Rembrandt and Arturo, to have the conversation with Cue Ball that they wanted to have with Cue Ball in a way that is productive to their end goal.
Yeah, it's a really good thing that Cue Ball stopped intervening in other worlds after this.
Exactly. From here on out, there's no intervention. We just watch them slide in and find a good hiding spot.
Okay, if it's not obvious already, if you're doing an episode counter and don't consider Quinn's sort of weird relationship with Sid's girlfriend last episode as a weird sex thing, the counter for weird episodes with a weird sex thing is back to 0 now.
Yeah, they really like their weird sex things.
But yes, Gwen does eventually make it, so Quinn's story is ultimately, like, misplaced regardless.
Yeah. So then Wade arrives, says she thinks somebody's following her. Cue Ball gives her a kiss on the cheek. She gives Arturo a kiss on the cheek. She does not reciprocate Cue Ball's, but just makes it like a I don't know my phrase, more friendly interaction than a romantic one. The police suddenly are bursting in, and they're like, because Wade was being followed. The men and Wade go into a secret hiding place behind a closet. There's a minor amusement that I just had of they're going into the closet to but
Yeah, the gay analogies are, there's no shortage of them.
yeah. They have a search warrant, so they can just barge into the place unannounced. I'm not sure why they would have a search warrant for this particular person. Granted, I guess maybe it's because her husband was one of the people who escaped.
Yeah, well, they also saw her car drive off.
They...
When he escaped.
Yeah, I was gonna say they didn't see, what is it, license plates, because it would have been too dark, but I also don't know what the recording equipment was like at this time. But But yeah, the license plate seemed like it was not visible at the distance when it was being driven off from.
I'd say it meets probable cause, but
Yeah, granted, I guess on the other hand is the fact that she's like, I'm gonna sue you in the department, and how do you know that they were even here? And one of the other officers was like, it was, dark outside. We could have missed, where the people had gone and have gotten the wrong house. And if they had the if they had the car, then they wouldn't need. Then they would have the search warrant and they would know the exact house to go to. But if they're just following, then it's not. You wouldn't have a search warrant for I followed and have found them in here and have a search warrant to search this location.
at least not a legal search warrant. And yeah, there is the very distinct possibility that they just forged the search warrant on the spot.
True.
Or they were planning on going there regardless, but that particular night they were following Wade, and it's like, oh, hey, we already have a search warrant for this place.
Like two birds, one stone. Dang it, I closed my thing. Okay, so then she's like, I'll sue you and I'll get you fired, and they're like, oh, look, the toilet seat's up. Men must have been here. When there are multiple reasons that a toilet seat could be up and men not be there.
Yeah, the most obvious one is what if she cleans the toilet, or was about to clean the toilet when they came,
Yeah, I also proposed the potential of everybody was arrested, so I've been leaving it up in his memory, and I've been using the other toilet that we have. Do they have another one? I don't know. It's a 2-story house. They probably have another one.
Thinking about the tradition in Passover to have an extra seat for Elijah the prophet, and I'm just imagining like there just being a tradition of leaving a toilet seat up for a man who may never come to piss in.
Leave the toilet seat up for Elijah.
Yeah, the evidence is circumstantial at best.
Yeah, and on the basis that the toilet seat was up, she was arrested. Which.
Oh, they had a lot of other reasons to suspect her, but that's what ultimately was the deciding one.
Yeah, everything else was we have no way of knowing, and then it's like, oh, toilet seat. Seems like the entire basis of the arrest. If everything else would be dropped without that, then nothing else is viable itself.
Would the toilet be viable in itself is kind of what I was getting at. I mean, maybe not. Maybe if they just encountered a toilet seat up, they wouldn't have arrested her. But the fact that they followed Wade there and that the car was the one seen outside of their base, and it was her husband that was one of the people that went missing. I can see the toilet seat being up as sort of like the straw that it's not really a straw that pulls the camel's back, but it's just what cements it. Whereas up until then, they were like,
It's the straw that arrests the wife.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how the saying goes, I believe. The police.
It is still circumstantial evidence and not really the basis for a conviction, but we don't see her actually go to court and get convicted, so.
Yeah. The police can't find them in the house, so are start doing a house-to-house search. The people have escaped through the attic, I think is what was proposed. I don't know if they actually escaped through the attic, or I think they did.
There was a ladder in the closet.
Mm-hmm. So they're out on the run trying to avoid capture, and then they're told that if they get separated, they need to meet in the park behind the statue on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Uh, they get out, they go onto the roads, and a car suddenly rushes towards them. Australians trank cue ball. Arturo comes to his defense and swings stick at them, and is also tranked. Arturo's caught. Cue ball escapes and passes out on another car a street below, and is subsequently separated from the group. Cue ball. Cue ball. Bleh. A woman wakes Cue Ball up in her room about 10 hours later. Her name is Jane Hills, a bakery owner. She said she wanted a family, Virus had other plans. Cue Ball says his friends she says him and his friends are in trouble. The whole group's on wanted posters that have been posted around, but they haven't been caught. And he's like, I don't know how I could repay for any of your help. And she's like, I know how. And he's like, I feel like it'd be taking advantage of you. And she's like, if I want to be taken advantage of, that's my business. Wade proposes, so it goes back and forth between Cue Ball and Wade. Wade wants to get into the Australian consulate by a defection. It switches to Arturo, and they're like, you need to eat your Vegemite, we're going to take you to Australia because they kidnap for reproduction purposes, because that's apparently a whole thing in this world. This world's just generally very odd, I find. And then she leaves, the head of there leaves, the guard in the room locks the door and begins to undress. It's implied he was sexually assaulted there because of that.
Like, even if you're going to sort of get under the impression that they were only in the graded camp for like the afternoon they stayed that evening, in this case, it's pretty explicit. Arturo was raped, so at least one sexual encounter happened this episode.
Yeah. Goes back to Wade and Rembrandt. She has Rembrandt cross-dress. He says he feels it's an indignity for him to be wearing dress and heels, and he refuses to shave his mustache. He has to learn to walk femininely because Wade says he's walking too much like a man, which is apparently a real thing. I don't know. Kogi might know more about this. I don't understand the genders.
I just didn't say too much. Obviously, there's a different stripe that's seen as more feminine and more masculine. But ultimately, it's, continued gender commentary where it's like, try walking in her shoes. In this case, it's a pretty literal statement where, they're already confronting so many other difficulties women face. Walking in heels, I feel like, just kind of hammers that, right? Like, this world without men is, in many respects, a gender role reversal world.
I mean, I was just more thinking, I don't
Yeah, I couldn't comment on
How do genders walk?
Yeah, I think it's just a broader comment of how, women have to perform their gender in terms of the actual stride. I could tell you there's a difference, but I couldn't, like, break it down. Though I do know that there's reality TV shows telling people how to walk on heels with the catwalk where there's an angry man that's, like, able to show women how to walk appropriately.
Ah,
But yeah, I'm not an angry gay man, so I couldn't tell you the specifics.
have you tried fixing that?
Uh, People generally don't seem to like me when I'm angry, and I think I already get angry an appropriate amount.
I,
Generally people don't regard me as an angry person. I'd rather avoid that.
yeah, I was trying to be silly in that.
I know.
Okay, you understood my joke. I didn't realize you understood my joke though. I may or may not be autistic. Ah, there we are. I was trying to find you. So he's the guy says he won't leave without his wife. I keep forgetting his name. I didn't care enough to catch it. Rembrandt says, "Don't tell anybody the crying man did this. He's clearly uncomfortable with cross-dressing." I know Koki had thoughts on this.
Well, it really relates to a lot of his earlier interactions with the LGBT community, and Rembrandt was brought as an example of someone who's generally pretty cool about it, as opposed to a Toro who got angry about that. I think the Toro is just generally an angry person, and not necessarily like. I guess this is an example where Rembrandt clearly shows a lot of apprehension about how he's perceived and doing something, I guess, well, in this case, transvesticism, but it's very much tied to the broader sort of LGBT sort of concerns regarding, I mean, homophobia and, male chauvinism are oftentimes related, and in this case, he's literally being made to look like a woman, but it also becomes clear that his anxiety is being perceived as a man dressing as a woman. And this is something that, does come up again and again, like, that they're going to taunt him for this. So, yeah, I don't know why they did this in the episode, other than, haha, let's hate on, an aspect of the LGBT community. But also, it kind of highlights Rembrandt has his own sort of heteronormative anxieties, if that makes sense.
Yeah. As we were discussing as well, it was made me think that this could be like a more realistic display of what was the term I used? Allyship. Because he seems very like chill in general, with most of the things that happen. He gets hit on. He's like, nah, I don't swing that way.
He wasn't really hit on. He just misunderstood a gesture.
If he thinks he's being hit on, he's like, nah. And in this case, it's he feels very offended about his own perception and perpetuates the issues that many people complain about, as it relates in this case to trans people. They feeling that, oh, I'm a man, I should. Very implied, but oh, I'm a man, I should be wearing men's clothing, and I don't want to be like wearing women's clothing. Um, but so he's like it's okay if it's others, and if he's so like I'm stumbling over my words for some reason. He seems like, oh, other people are gay, that's fine. Other people are gay and think I'm attractive, that's also fine. I guess there's even a degree of other people are gay and think I'm attractive and to some degree even perceive me as gay by virtue of that they're hitting on me. It's fine, but when it comes to his engagement with it is what he dislikes, and would not want to have revealed.
Yeah, and this sort of compromising position that Rembrandt finds himself in comes up multiple times shortly.
Yeah.
Which, you think that in a world with very few men, beggars can't be choosers, but, clearly, women are not shying away from criticizing men for being men wrong.
Yeah. So they go to the consulate. So the two of them go to the consulate. The professor's banging on the window. Guard bursts into his room and aims a gun at his crotch, so he'll stop drawing attention to himself. Wade's trying to be like, he's an American citizen. He has a right to be heard or freed because he's not yours. You're kidnapping him. This is illegal. One of them, one of the guards is like, I know we need men, but not the kind that dress like this. This is a notably transphobic statement by the guard, as opposed to just like the implicit versions that have up to this point been stated. This one's just like in your face. The demand to see Arturo in cue ball, and nobody knows who Quinn is. I call him cue ball so often I forget his actual name. Yeah. And so the Australians basically just arrest the whole group because they're like, you're not gonna ignite an international incident. I mean, to some degree, I would say that it's these people igniting the international incident by coming in and abducting people from foreign soil, which,
you're always going to blame the other, right? We're doing international crimes, but it's not an incident if we don't get caught. It's the people who catch us that are starting the incident, or cause us to get caught in this case.
Yeah, I guess going into more explicit, more political things for recent politics, this would be like going into Venezuela and kidnapping the leader of the country, and just yeah, what are you gonna do about it? You don't want to start an international problem. Whereas the abduction of a foreign citizen on their own soil is apparently perfectly fine. if so long as you just say, nah, I don't like him first. So they're being taken to Australia. Wade promises she can give them Trevor Grant. Says, who means more to you, national treasure or an American transvestite and overweight Englishman? This... So I don't know the phrase, edit my statement after I say it, but I don't know whether to find it kind of funny or how to find it. It's always been in that weird middle ground because she promised not to tell anybody about Rembrandt cross-dressing, immediately followed by telling somebody about Rembrandt cross-dressing.
I think he specifically said when we get back. Get me wrong, this doesn't bode well for Wade keeping her mouth shut about the matter, but I don't think she technically broke the promise there.
Mm-hmm. So one of the on the side is like, it's a stall, and for some unknown reason, so this person is like, obviously figured it out. Yeah, they're stalling. For some absolutely unknown reason, the leader of the Australian, I don't know, paramilitary group here at the consulate decides to accept this claim that it is possible for her to do this, and I have absolutely no idea why.
I mean, at the very least, she was competent enough to smuggle 3 men into the United States. And objectively, they made the right call because she was able to arrange the agreement. Well, no, not objectively, because she also was deceiving them because she had no intention of doing this. But, like, it's a judgment call, and she has shown at least an amount of competence when it comes to arranging these things.
I mean, do the Australians have any reason to suspect this? Like, obviously she was able to get Rembrandt to the Australians, but they know nothing about cue ball or Wade's involvement with Arturo.
She was on the news. They absolutely would have known about her bringing cue ball and Arturo to the United States.
Would they have any reason to believe she brought them to the United States?
I mean,
other than just, oh, she exists alongside them, but that's like, okay, any woman who exists near them brought them to the U.S.
Yes, I mean, everyone seems pretty confident. At the very least, they know that the Americans are confident that she is their handler.
Okay, I could see that then. I forgot about that portion because it only comes up like once or twice.
Yeah, and the Australians were also spying on her the whole time, so, you know, they clearly thought she was a priority target.
So they cuts back to Cue Ball for a moment. They're out. Cue Ball and what's her face are outside on a balcony, and Cue Ball says, "She's like, have you given any more thought to my offer?" And he's like, "If I say no, it seems like I'm rejecting you, and doing a cultural faux pas. But if I say yes, I don't want to have children with anybody if I can't see the kids." Not actually too much happened in that little bit. Go
I
back.
guess it's worth noting that though she does come off as very kind, and we are given we're given every reason to believe she would help him even if he said no. It is worth noting that this is also sort of a commentary on, I guess, some of the things that women have to face. Even when people seem nice, the help that he receives is not entirely without strings attached.
There was a definite power imbalance between the two of them. Because she could be nice and then decide not to help if he rejects the offer. Or she could make it so that her help is, oh, it was a little too late.
Yeah, so I definitely think that this is similar to Rembrandt's experience in the weaker sex. So in that case, it was like a blatant sleazeball, but it's sort of like someone saying, "Hey, I'll help you out," and got in his pants. Now, granted, I don't know how she's going to get away with having a baby if she's not on the approved list of participants. She's got money, but this is something that she'd have to hide for the rest of her life. But
True. Granted, I don't think there might not be too many people asking questions as long as you're capable of reproducing. But Wade meets with David and he says, like, are you sure this works? Because he wants his wife and his freedom both. And she's like, I think I do, but yeah, gotta take a leap of faith. He agrees. Wade meets the Americans and says, she's like, I can give you the Patriots back, but yeah, gotta stop being a bitch. Also, the Australians are willing to broker a deal. They give the three Patriots for Trevor Grant, who would go on the disabled list if this is rejected, because a person on the list, Wade is claiming, is an Australian infiltrator who is going to make him permanently disabled or sterile by giving him mumps. She's like, and they, what?
she said disabled.
Yeah, by way of being sterile. I was just making it more clear. And they're like, well, even if that's the case, we'll just be able to find the person and stop it. And Wade's like, well, how are you going to do that? The only way to ensure that is to make it so that he never sees another woman in his life. And that kind of defeats the purpose. You couldn't go by accent or anything because the person was I want to say traitor, because I don't know the better word.
Infiltrator.
Right.
The woman spying on
Hey! Ow!
an American and Australian accent. So, now granted, I don't know how convincing her Australian accent is to Australian people, but at the very least, there is a scene of her earlier talking to Wade with an American accent. So, yes, clearly they have people who can do American accents.
Mm-hmm. Ow.
And probably forge papers to get approved on the list.
Probably, or if she's, well, I guess if you can just make yourself into a citizen, then you have the potential to be on the list regardless. No, but she says that it's also because the they'd vary their gene pool by getting 3 different people, and having 3 people being able to reproduce would give the equal amount of pregnancies to Trevor Grant. So they'd get just as much, if not more, repopulation ability. And so this is so she's claiming this trade would be a thing in their benefit, in their favor. Again, everybody's really lucky. Everybody agrees to this. They meet under a bridge because Wade said to the Americans, the Australians insisted it take place here, and to the Australians that the Americans said it would take place here. The group meets back up, except for Cue Ball, and they're like, we're sliding in 6 minutes. The exchange is made fairly quickly. The trade was for Arturo, Rembrandt, and this other guy, whose name I don't remember and don't care about, for Grant. They all go to a car to get in the car. The person receives over the radio, hey, sorry, we're going to be a little late. Something was wrong with our, I don't remember what it was called, carburetor or something. And it's revealed that, oh, Wade is driving the car, actually, and everybody makes their escape. It's followed by a slow-moving car chase scene where the cars are going like 10 miles an hour.
Does Wade's ability to hotwire vehicles come up? Has it come up before? Does it ever come up again?
It wasn't really hot wiring, it was disabling the other vehicle.
Oh, I see.
Which is why the other one was late. It doesn't really come up, I don't believe it came up before, and I don't think it comes up again. Rembrandt has several episodes where he's, works on vehicles. He said he was in the, army and had to take a couple of courses before he could start doing his, what's it called? The, like, UFO? No, not UFO. U something.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The part of the military that entertains the troops.
Yeah, I don't know about an acronym there.
Okay.
But yeah, regardless, Rembrandt has the skill set. It hasn't been established before that Wade does, but Wade can learn things either independently before the slide or, with the help of Rembrandt after the slide.
Yeah. So the group slides everybody and a car, and then Cue Ball jumps in because he was also by the statue where they said they'd meet. This seems like it would put one of the most strains on the timer and kill everybody, but as obviously, because this is a series that almost never kills its main characters, everybody survives seemingly fine. And then a lady that Cue Ball was with has an image of Cue Ball and looks at it. It's unclear and divisive whether it looks at it like I want to say reminiscently with, and my phrase, meaning like what could have been. Koki, I believe, is I don't know how I would phrase that.
I think it could be implying, not outright stating, that she believes she is going to have his child, and subsequently, has a picture of him to remember him by because he is the father of her child.
And maybe show the child after it is born and starts growing up.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think it's outright saying that because, of course, how would you know if you're pregnant that quickly? But she's probably hoping she's pregnant. Assuming that they have sex at all, which is kind of was left open-ended. Because, yeah, it could just be, like, she felt very strongly for him and kept the picture even though they didn't do anything.
Yeah, I will note that the seemingly the overwhelming majority of Sliders fans seem to take this as they had sex. I I'm generally inclined towards nah, cause I don't know. I'm not a sexual person.
Yeah, I mean, there's already, like, plenty of off-screen copulation in this episode, so it doesn't seem terribly out of the question for him to be like, we're not doing this, but then later. So he doesn't straight up say, we're not doing this. But then, off-screen they do it, but I think it's supposed to be left open-ended.
But that is the end of the episode then.
Hey, we're gonna leave you on a cliffhanger for the alternate history portion, because I've got stuff to do today, and I should probably start getting ready.
Boo! How dare!
Yes. Now, this is just I guess the political analysis hasn't happened, but the alternate history will come next week. Have a great day.
I need to slowly figure out how to stop recording, stop streaming. Have fun. Bye.